The Destiny community gets a bad reputation for never being happy. You see complaints all over Reddit, no matter what Bungie or it happens in Destiny, they're just never happy. You see this on Twitter constantly with thousands of angry players and angry people in the community. You see this on YouTube comments, TikTok comments, message boards, Destiny, Bungie forums. So why are people so upset? Why have they been upset for years? And more recently, yes, we can say that people are upset based on some of the information we found with the layoffs and Bungie on the corporate work side. But I am talking more with Destiny as a whole. Because no matter what Bungie does, somebody is going to be violently upset. And sure, we could chalk it up to just toxic, unsatisfied gamers that have never left their parents' basement and never experienced the real world and real problems and don't know how to relate to people and think the world should just cater to them. But I think it goes deeper than that. I think that Destiny, at its core and its philosophy, has opposing ideals that really makes the community clash with itself. So I would like to explore these different sections of the community, these different wants, these different desires, and really see where these clash in the community. Now, if this is your first time experiencing my content, seeing my content, I have been a TikTok Destiny creator for 3 years. In fact, I was one of the original 3 Destiny TikTok creators. So I have seen a lot of anger, a lot of opinions, a lot of frustrations in the community. Now, first of all, I am not making a video based on Bungie's decisions. Now, I also want to put a disclaimer out there that I am not defending Bungie for anything that they have done on the corporate side, anything they've done with their company, and I'm not defending some of the decisions they've made and implemented in Destiny. I'm only looking at the player base and why nothing seems to make them happy. Starting off, we can divide the community into 4 different sections. We can have our horizontal line and our vertical line. At the very top, we have people where money is not an issue, where they will spend as much money on the content, the DLCs, the seasons, the event passes, the Eververse store, anything, because they don't really care about money. They just want to play the game. And on the opposite section, we have people who are free-to-play players, people who do not want to play any part of the game at all. They just want to play it. They don't want to spend a dime. And on the other side, we have the casual players, the players that don't really do any end game content, might not even do any medium game content. They mostly stick around in patrols, lost sectors, do some strikes, maybe some PvP, gambit, things like that. And on the opposite side, we have our hardcore players. The people who spend all their time trying to be the best of the best. They're trying to grind out for the best gear, their god rolls. They do their 3-man raids, their flawless raids, flawless solo dungeons. We got the hardcore of the hardcore. Now already you can probably guess that you will see some clashes between these 4 different sections of the community. But we can actually divide this even further. We can draw a diagonal line across this map because there is 2 other elements of this game that people are happy with or dissatisfied with. And that is the RPG elements, your build crafting elements of the game, your weapon rolls, and the people who just want a first-person shooter, similar to Call of Duty, similar to how Halo was, without needing to have any knowledge about your mod system and your perks. And I'm going to put this big circle in the very center of this graph. And this is going to be where probably the majority of your players lie, right here in the center. They're not super hardcore, but they're not casual. They enjoy some endgame content, but they don't try to be the best of the best. They have no problem spending money on DLCs or seasons, but they do not want to spend any money on Eververse or your event passes, and they don't want to spend as much on the seasons and the DLCs as what they are currently paying for. And then we have our extremes, which is something you see online. You have your bottom right, which is the most casual of casual and the most free to play players there. And these are your hackers, your cheaters, your data miners, your leakers, people who not only don't really actually want to earn or play or pay for the game, but kind of want to ruin it for others. These are the people that refuse to be good at the game, but also want to harm the community. Next, you have your top right. These are people who have spent money on the game, spent maybe a lot of money on the game, but they don't really want to do anything that hard in the game. And they want everything catered to them simply because they spent money. It's not fair that this exotic is locked behind a raid. It's not fair this exotic you have to do this grindy quest for. Because I paid money, I should already have it. And then you have your top left. These are people who've spent a lot of money on the game and they spend a lot of time in the game. They play constantly. They want to be the best of the best. And they believe the game should be catered to them because of the money they spent and the time that they have spent in this game. That things should be constantly getting harder and harder and harder. And really, we should just get rid of the casual base completely because they feel that the casuals are holding them back. And finally, you have your bottom left. These are free-to-play players, players who do not want to spend any money, but they play a lot. And they think that because they play a lot, even though they don't spend any money, that they should have a very large opinion on how the game operates and what should be catered to them. Fortunately, the majority of the player base exists inside this red circle. These are the people that can mostly coexist with the other side. They understand that the game needs to be catered to multiple different types of players, not just to them. That the casual player base and the hardcore player base are valid. That people who don't want to spend a lot of money have just a right of opinion as people who spend a lot of money. Luckily, the four corners are a very, very minority part of the base. It might be a vocal minority that you see a lot in forums, online, and Twitter, and things like that, but that is a minority. They're not as prevalent as you would think. So what is Bungie to do with such opposing viewpoints in a video game? Because a lot of other shooters, you don't really see this type of community. You see people being mad that maybe a gun is overpowered in a battle royale or in a PvP setting. But as far as the PvE side, you don't really see people complaining. You didn't really see people complaining in Halo that 343 and previously Bungie is catering to this section or that section of the community. There were no real RPG elements. It was first-person shooter. And then you go with WoW. WoW is all RPG, but not first-person shooter. So you're not really getting people complaining about certain aspects because the whole community knows it's an RPG. And I do wonder if the Destiny community could ever be truly happy with the game. Because if Bungie were to implement more RPG elements, more build crafting, more options, the more casual first-person shooter side of the game becomes unhappy and becomes vocal. But if they move away from the RPG elements like they did in year 1 and year 2, the people who enjoy that aspect of Destiny will be very unhappy and very vocal. And then you have the people that want to spend more money so they can have more content in game, but that opposes the free-to-play players that wants all the content without paying a dime. But that's not how businesses work. And while there are good reasons for the player bases to be unhappy with some of the decisions Bungie has made internally and implemented into game, I do think one of the factors that will cause a shrinking player base is because one of these sides will get so tired of not being catered to more that they will go find a game that satisfies their itch. And while I myself do not agree and I'm not happy with every single thing that's in Destiny, I do think that the best way to enjoy this game is to embrace all sides of it.